I sat down with some really good traders and I paid a lot of money to sit alongside and watch guys trade. And it was very, very frustrating to me to find out, that a lot of these guys couldn't explain what it is that they do. And initially what I thought was, well, they're scammers. They're scamming me because they don't really know what they're doing. They can't explain it, so they must not be, good traders. It must all be a scam. But what I learned is over time, and especially after I got into trading, is that those guys, the guys who have been successful for that length of time, who grew up in a very old methodology of trading, which is basically just like school of hard knocks. You show up, you get mentored by a guy for 4 or 5 years, and finally you get to a point where you live on ramen noodles until finally you get to a point where you kind of figure the game out and you kind of get a feel for the market and you're making decisions. And I'll give you an example of this. Imagine, again, for a minute, that you've been trading for like 20 years, okay? You're a 20-year veteran of the market, and you spend 5 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day in front of the charts. Technical analyst. Now, guys, that's 52,000 hours spent watching the market move up and down. 52,000 hours. And guys, when you've done it for that long, you develop a sense of a feel for the market because you have a massive amount of historical perspective. You have seen, whether you realize it or not, you have seen trade setups happen hundreds, if not thousands of times. And traders who've done it like that have developed, what they would call a feel for the market. And it really is nothing more than their subconscious picking up millions and millions of these little signals that the chart's getting, the chart's giving them. And if to them, they'll call it a gut feel. And one of the worst things that I hear, it's like a second lieutenant saying, sir, it's been my experience. That's funny to only military guys too, I think. When the second lieutenant comes up and says, sir, it's been my experience, you just laugh. And it's like, look, you monkey, you've been in the military all like 15 minutes. It's been your experience. It's been your experience, nothing. Shut up. And one of the funniest things that I get is traders who've been trading, 3 months, 6 months, a year, coming and saying, well, I got to get a gut feel. You don't have to. No, it's not. It's been my experience. No, it hasn't. You have no experience. You have not been doing this long enough to have an experience. And they end up failing miserably because they try and pattern themselves after what this other guy's doing, and the other guy can't really tell you what it is that he's doing because he's developed this kind of innate feel for what the market has got going on. What we do here, guys, is very, very, very different, okay? Everything that we do is formulaic. Everything that we do. Everything that we do is explained down to the last detail. This is a mind map of the process that the trader goes through, that what we call the before, during, and after phases of a trade. We also have in there money management, psychology, and trade plan development on this particular mind map. But every single piece of it, I can't make it any bigger. I know you guys want to be writing it down and all the little pieces, but I can't make it any bigger. It's a picture, okay? Every little piece is explained. And we go into detail on every little phase of this, and we explain why we do it the way that we do it so that you have a very, very clear understanding of what happens at each phase of the process, and most importantly, why we're doing that. So that at the end of the day, you create a very clear, complete picture of what you need to be doing on a daily basis to be a successful trader. And we'll be covering a lot of this week. So, well, with some of it, we'll be covering this week. The one point I will make is that nowhere on this is a technical trader workshop, right? Nowhere on this particular mind map do we discuss anything having to do with technical analysis. That is a completely different process, a completely different mind map. So you can see the massive amount of information that's involved with really learning how to trade. And so for those of you who are coming into this week going, oh yeah, by the time I get done with Jason's free week course, I'll be ready to get out there and kick it and make some money.